Hello everyone, this is Pratap Hegde conducting International Economics class for BCom 4th semester. Dear students, in the previous video we studied about the balance of trade, and in this video we will be studying about the concept of balance of payment. In the previous video we discussed about the difference between balance of trade and the balance of payment. Let us recall that the balance of trade is the difference between or the balance between the export and imports of visible goods and services of a country during a year. But balance of payment in respect to balance of trade is slightly different. Now what do you mean by balance of payment? The balance of payments of a country is a systematic record of all economic transactions between the residents of a country and the rest of the world. It presents a classified record of all receipts on account of goods exported, services rendered, and also capital received by the residents and payments made by them on accounts of goods imported and services received from the capital transferred to non-residents or foreigners. This is the definition given by Reserve Bank of India. It states that the balance of payment is the record of all the transactions of maybe goods, services as well as capital from and into the country. I hope you have understood the difference between balance of trade and balance of payment. Next, we will be moving on to the components of balance of payment. The balance of payment statement consists of various components. Like the first one is current account. The current account deals with all the transactions that are taken or that takes place from a country to the rest of the world. The capital account holds the record of exchange of capital from one country to another. The third one is reserve account, and the components of balance of payment also holds place for errors and omissions also. So basically the components of a balance of payments are nothing but the balance statements of a country, similar to the balance of sheet of an industry or maybe a financial institution. So balance of payment statement holds record of a country's current account, its capital account and reserve account also. Now we will study about the different types of balance of payments. There are three types of balance of payment, just like balance of trade. They are surplus balance of payment, deficit balance of payment, and as well as balanced balance of payment. Now any balance of payment that is surplus or deficit is considered as a disequilibrium in the balance of payment. Now what do you mean by surplus balance of payment? A surplus balance of payment occurs when the total receipts exceeds total payments, which means exports are more than imports of that country. Then what do you mean by deficit balance of payment? A deficit balance of payment occurs when total payments exceeds total receipts, which means imports are more than a country's export. Now balanced balance of payment is the export of a country and the imports of that country are very much equal. As I told earlier, in the case of balance of trade, balance of payment is also very rarely seen. So most of the backward countries are experiencing a deficit in the balance of payment. Only advanced countries are having surplus balance of payment, and all or majority of the underdeveloped countries or developing countries are facing the problem of deficit in the balance of payment, which means their imports are more than their export. Now what causes the disequilibrium in the balance of payment? There are many reasons for which a country's imports are greater than a country's exports. Let us study all those reasons here. The first one is cyclical fluctuations. As we understand that throughout the year in any economy, the production process cannot continue as planned, or the production process will not be very much uniform. There will be fluctuations, there will be ups and downs in the production of the economy. So this ups and downs in the economy causes disequilibrium in the balance of payment. In some seasons the production may be greater, and in some seasons the productions will not take place due to many other reasons. So in these type of cyclical fluctuations, the balance of the country or the balance of the payment of that country tends to differ. The next cause is shortfall in the exports. The shortfall in the export may be caused by major reasons. Maybe lesser demand for that product in the outer economy, or maybe problem faced by the countries domestically, and whatever other reasons may be. When the exports are lesser than imports, there will be disequilibrium in the balance of payment. The next cause is the stage of economic development. As I told earlier, whenever a country passes through the stage of development or the state of progress, it tends to import more commodities, like more machinery and more technology. So in that phase, the country's balance of payment will be unfavorable for the economy. The country will be importing more and exporting very less commodities. The next cause will be rapid increase in the population. Whenever a country experiences rapid increase in its population, its demand tend to increase. So whenever a country cannot produce all the goods and services that are suitable for the population of that country, then that population tends to import from other goods and services in order to fulfill their demands. That will lead to increase in the import and reduction in the export of that country. Then several other reasons are structural changes in the economy, maybe in the production process, and natural calamities also cause to import more goods and services from abroad whenever there is problem in the domestic economy, and also international capital movements. So these are all the major causes for the disequilibrium in the balance of payment. We are mainly studying about importing more and exporting less. These are all the major reasons for importing more goods and exporting less goods. That is an example of deficit balance of payment, just to be clear. Now, how can we reduce this disequilibrium in the balance of payment? What are the measures that can be taken in order to reduce this balance of payments disequilibrium? Mainly, the steps are classified into two measures. First one is monetary measure to correct disequilibrium, and the second one is non-monetary measure. At first, we will be studying about the monetary measures to correct disequilibrium in the balance of payment. Out of which, first one is monetary policy. The monetary policy is concerned with money supply and credit in the economy. The central bank may expand or contract the money supply in the economy through appropriate measures which will affect the prices, and also it will affect the demand and supply of the commodity. By this, we can correct the disequilibrium in the balance of payment. The second measure is to the fiscal policy. Fiscal policy is a government's policy on income and expenditure of the population of that country. Government incurs development and non-development expenditure. It gets income through taxation and non-tax sources. Depending upon the situation, government's expenditure may be increased or decreased. So by increasing or decreasing the expenditure of the government, it can correct the disequilibrium in the balance of payment. The third measure is exchange rate depreciation. By reducing the value of the domestic currency, government can correct the disequilibrium in the balance of payment in the economy. Exchange rate depreciation reduces the value of home currency in relation to foreign currency. As a result, import becomes costlier and export becomes cheaper. It also leads to inflationary trends in the country. The next measure is devaluation. Devaluation is lowering the exchange value of the official currency. When a country devalues its currency, exports become cheaper and imports become expensive, which causes a reduction in the balance of payment deficit. So whenever in a country, if the goods and services are available at a cheaper rate, more customers tend to approach that country, and in that way its exports will be greater than its imports. The next measure is deflation. Deflation, as opposed to inflation, is the reduction in the quantity of money to reduce prices and incomes, whereas inflation is the continuous increase in the prices of goods and services, isn't it? So deflation is the opposite of that. Deflation is the reduction in the quantity of money to reduce prices and incomes. In the domestic market, when the currency is deflated, there is a decrease in the income of the people. This puts control on consumption, and government can increase exports and earn more foreign exchange. This will improve the foreign exchange reserves of that economy. The last one measure in the monetary measures is exchange control. All exporters are directed by the monetary authority to surrender their foreign exchange earnings, and the total available foreign exchange is rationed among the licensed importers. The license holder can import any good, but amount is fixed by monetary authority. By this way, the amount of goods and services imported will be in control of the government authorities. So all these measures are monetary measures to correct the disequilibrium, or mostly in order to reduce the deficit in the balance of payment. Now we will study about the non-monetary measures by the government. The first one is export promotion. By reducing the export duties, we can boost the exports. By reducing taxes on the exports, we can increase the amount of exports to the other countries. The second one is cash assistance and subsidies can be given to exporters to increase their exports. By this way, we can reduce the deficit in the balance of payment. Third one is goods meant for exports can be exempted from all types of taxes. So for whatever commodity there is high demand in the foreign countries, major taxes can be exempted on that goods in order to promote more and more export of that commodity. The next one is import substitution. Steps may be taken to encourage the production of import substitutes. This will save foreign exchange in the short run by replacing the use of imports by these import substitutes. The next step is import controlling. Import may be kept in control through the adoption of wide variety of measures like imposing of quotas and tariffs. Under the quota system, the government fixes the maximum quantity of goods permitted per commodity. So quotas are a system or the taxation on the quantity of a commodity that can be imported from other countries. By limiting the quantity of commodity that can be imported from other countries, we can put a check on the quantity of imports in the country. By this way, we will be more in benefit. Next, imposition of tariff or increasing tariff rates. Tariffs are nothing but taxes imposed on imports. So whenever a country imports certain commodity, it will be imposed tariff. It's called as taxes. When tariffs are imposed, the prices of imports would increase to the extent of tariff. The increased prices will reduce the demand for imported goods and at the same time induce domestic producers to produce more of import substitutes. By taking all these measures, a country can improve its exports and as well as reduce its imports. So these are all the monetary and non-monetary measures taken to correct the disequilibrium in the balance of payment. So that's all for the today's class. Thank you.